No, you need to prepare, get ready for it. Get a 2 year, at least a 6 month stock of non-perishable foods and go through them, use them, and replace what you use. Because in 2023, we are going to see crazy famine level nuttery. It's going to be nuts because grains will not be coming to yield like they normally would because fertilizer costs quadruple almost. Okay. If you tell a farmer you can't use this much water now, and this is how much fertilizer costs, and now you got too much carbon, so you can't plant that much. You see where all this is going? This is the next big thing. So you're all waiting for crypto to come back alive. That's dying. Okay. Forex is dying. Food. That's going to be the market that people will absolutely be buying up because you need it. You don't need a crypto. You don't need a Forex. You don't need it. You don't need it. But everybody needs to eat. Everybody has to feed themselves or their young ones. Now, what are you willing to do to keep from starving? Now, contrast that with what you're willing to do if you miss a crypto trade or a Forex trade. It's annoying. But what happens if your children are hungry and you don't have anything in the pantry to feed them? You're going to start thinking about things that you necessarily wouldn't be thinking about right now and what you do want to do. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a God-fearing man, but I know I would be doing things that would probably be very unsavory to make sure my family eats. If you have extra, I'm going to ask politely the first time. And that's just being real. Imagine the whole world like that. That's going to make food prices go through the roof. And it's all being engineered, not in one country, everywhere. So we're seeing that potential turning of the tide where dollar has been rallying aggressively. Really, really hard, aggressive. Why? It's been flexing on all the other currencies. But Saudi Arabia is that little cornerstone I've mentioned. Watch that one. I told my students, keep your eye on the Middle East. When the shoe drops, you'll know. And it seems like that formation of the BRICS nation, that whole anti-dollar movement, and their currency is going to be backed by gold. Hello. That's real money. That's not crypto. And that's not dollars. That's real money. That's a real currency. That's a real currency that has a backing of what is considered biblical money, gold. You go into any country, gold's recognized. You start flashing, Confederate dollars. They're like, what is that? That's monopoly money. Nobody's going to care about that. But reach inside of a case and pull out a bar of gold, and you'll be lucky if you live. So they're hoarding up all the gold. If you've been watching the last 12 months or so, there's been huge withdrawals from physical gold depositories where they're holding on to gold. There's been huge withdrawals of gold. Why? What is going on that everybody wants to get their hands on their gold? Because something really big's coming. And they already told you what it is. It's the Great Reset. It's the Great Shafting is what it is. And a lot of people are going to be caught off guard. They're going to be starving. They're going to be doing without because they think it's too science fiction to prepare for it. But all you have to do is look at the markets and they're telling you. Remember how crypto was supposed to be? This is the Robin Hood, the savior of all fiat currency victims. Go out into the world and transfer your currencies into Bitcoin. It seems to be there's a lot of celebrities and such, even YouTubers, that got themselves tangled up in a web of supporting these ideas and these schemes and scams and frauds. And now people are left without their money. Even my own son. I told Cody, I said, do not invest that money in that crap. Don't do it. Oh, Dad, you don't know. You're so old and fuddy-duddy. You're set in your ways. And just watch this young generation. I'm going to say a BOMB falls somewhere in the United States. We don't need to say who it was that did it. But every grocery store out there will empty immediately. Who's going to come and fill it back up? Nobody. You got what you got. Good luck. Everybody is 3 meals away from starvation. You don't realize it, but that's really what it is. So you have to prepare. It's all part of being prepared as a investor. Having a clear mind to be able to decide what it is that you're going to be doing, because you cannot trade scared money. Scared money will not make you any money. And if you don't have these things sorted out beforehand, I have food stocks, I have water filters, I have water, I have means to medicate myself, over-the-counter medications that would normally be a hindrance on being sick or whatever. You're not worried about COVID. You're not worried about RSV. They're trying to scare the hell out of you again. People get sick, folks. It's part of life. If you're going to die, you're going to die. Ain't nothing to worry about. You can't stop it. But you have to make preparations for these things to get even harder. And a lot of you young folks out there just think you're invincible. And I'm so thankful that this wasn't happening when I was 20, because I would have dismissed all of it. I would not be listening to me right now. I would have already turned this off, and that would have been it. But I'm thankful I've been able to be in this world long enough to know and how it operates, and where we're heading is not pleasant. And all of you people out there that are running around thinking that you're going to have Forex forever, man, you just simply don't know. You don't know. So if the dollar's coming down, that gives you a gateway to have mega trades. That means these big, extrapolated, violent, one-way direction moves. That's a real bull market. That's a real commodity that has real supply and demand factors to it, because people need to eat. You don't need your British pounds. You don't need to buy British pounds in the US. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do it. You don't need to buy IBM shares or Amazon shares or Tesla shares. You don't need to do that. But you do need to fill your pantry up. You do need to put eggs, bread, milk, and those main staples in your house. Those things are real. That stuff is going to be hard to get your hands on going into 2023. If you can, it's going to be so expensive. It's going to be stressful. So you need to be able to mitigate that as early as you possibly can. Start, making preparations for that. And also preparing yourself for opportunities in the marketplace, because crypto ain't it, folks. It's not it. The commodity markets, the old wheat, corn, soybean, those types of moves that we saw years ago in the 90s, they're going to be trumped by enormous rallies. Coffee. I don't like coffee. I love the way it smells. Except for the ones that my wife likes. It stink. I don't know why she even drinks that garbage, but hey, she says she loves the way it tastes. I think it smells like shit, but it is what it is. But Starbucks, or go into the coffee aisle in the grocery store, I love that. I love that smell. I have a collection of cologne that have 2 fragrances that smell like a coffee house. And probably like, what? It smells gorgeous. It's a gourmand fragrance. It's beautiful. It smells amazing. I get so many compliments, but coffee itself, I can't drink it. And you're probably saying, what the hell is he going on about coffee for? Coffee's a commodity. Coffee, you can make a lot of money in coffee trading it. And when it moves fast. Over $300 a cent, and you're looking at a move that could potentially go violently straight up. If people can't get what? If they can't get their caffeine through coffee, what happens to them? They're nuts, right? I can't function without my coffee. I'm glad I've never been a victim to that, but I can see I've been married to a woman that needs that stuff. She's addicted to it. But that's going to be a commodity that is affected by what's coming to sugar. Sugar right now, unless you're a diabetic or something like that, you should be getting it. Cocoa, real quiet market right now. But all those things are going to be expensive going into the next year because you're not going to be able to get your hands on them. But the main ones are grains to me. That's what I'm watching. And we saw this big run up and we corrected. And everybody's forgot about it right now. Nobody's talking about corn and soybeans and wheat and oats. They're not talking about it. And the dollar's slipping. And the fundamentals are Saudi Arabia saying, yeah, it's been nice, but see you, Biden. They found new friends. New mafia protectors. They ain't worried about getting shaken down anymore. So what's the dollar backed by? Mm-hmm. What's the British pound backed by? Mm-hmm. The euro. Yeah. It's an illusion. Then you have these nations coming together saying, we are going to put an end to Western rule. Just replace that with dollar-based. That's really what they're saying. And it was going to happen. I mean, we played bully for years and decades. We tried to be the cops, but we were also the people that are doing the biggest crimes against humanity and other nations. We don't like your president. We're going to do you a favor, and we're going to put one in that we like. What? How long can you do that before other countries say, hey, this ain't the right guy to be backing? And we're seeing that formation, this collaboration between other nations that are literally turning their back on the dollar. And the average person doesn't see it. My kids aren't in public schools, but I guarantee they're not teaching it in schools either. It's going to be one of those things where something happened. Who could have seen that coming? All of you now. All of you. And you have two choices, obviously. You can listen to this and dismiss it. Guys, tinfoil hat shit. Okay. Or you can listen to it and say, okay, this is opportunity. Opportunity is now here. Whereas the first group would be looking at it and listening and thinking there's no opportunity here. Opportunity is nowhere. And for those that are still listening, you see it as opportunity is now here. Put all those letters together. They look the same, but the perception is different. See, as a speculator, as a commodity trader, I look at war. I look at pestilence and famine, disease, and terrible incidents in the world and say, that's horrible. I couldn't do anything personally to stop that. My heart goes out to those people. But there's opportunity. There's opportunity in that. And it sounds horrible to someone that hasn't been a speculator or a trader. But why wouldn't you take that event that you didn't cause? You didn't create it. You can't stop it. You can't remedy it. Is it a moral dilemma for you to profit off of it? I don't believe it is. Now, I'll leave it for you and the audience members to wrestle with that. Oh, I couldn't do that. Well, You're doing it every time you take a trade, folks, because on the other side of that trade, there's someone that's taking the same risk, just viewing it oppositely. Is that a word, oppositely? If it isn't, I just coined it. You're victimizing someone on the other side of your trade. If you're right and you made money, they were a victim of that speculation. So don't preach to me. I'm not going to look at the Twitter yet, but I'm sure somebody's like, oh, it's a terrible outlook. It's the reality of it all. When I go in and I put a trade on, I'm hoping the person on the other end of that trade is dead wrong. I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. Well, if you want to look at it from a perspective of not being prepared, not seeing opportunity in it, not being able to speculate on it, then yeah, I could see how easily that would be very depressing, scary. But I don't fear those things. Okay. I don't worry about those things, because if there is a system still in operation, okay, this is why I always tell everyone, the algorithm is not going to stop working. They're going to implement it continuously. The markets themselves will be removed. Then it won't work because there is no market. But as long as there's a market, that's what they're employing, period. So don't worry about that. You have other things to worry about besides whether or not the algorithm is going to get changed or replaced with something else. It's efficient, folks. It's efficient. It's perfect. And when they need it to be something outside of itself, they will manually intervene. There it is. So there's no reason to be worrying about all those things. But in all this mess, this is what is astonishing to me. You see all these folks out there, and I'm not, listen, folks, I'm not trying to stir you up, because I know these crypto people are like fanatics. Like you're, what did you say about my mother? That's what it feels like sometimes. And I'm just giving you my opinion, and my opinion should be welcomed. You don't have to agree with it, but in speculation, there has to be somebody that has the other opinion that's different from yours, and that should be welcomed. I look most of my time in the morning before the markets really present the kill zone times that I'm trading. I'm in forums. I'm on websites. I'm in people's Twitters. I'm in people's YouTube comment sections and trying to feel what the sentiment is. I'm interested in the other opinion. I'm not taking their trades. I'm going to trade against that sentiment. Now, I'm not saying you should fade what I'm saying here today. You're welcome to try that. But just know that if you do that, this could be very, very expensive and a different kind of expense where you may be ill prepared for your household to sustain itself. Nobody sees how crypto was not the savior in all this pandemic. That was the time for it to shine. And I sat back and waited to be wrong. Well, this will tell me if this is really what it's pretending to be, then it should be shooting straight on up. And nope. XRP future. Yeah. Future zero. All of these things are there to get you thinking outside of the normal money. And it's been effective. But I couldn't trust having my money parked in any of those things right now. Look at how much fraud has been going on. Think about it. My son's got 20,000 plus locked up. He can't do anything with it. He can't pull it out. He can't do nothing with it. That's frustrating for me because he didn't listen. My own flesh and blood, my firstborn, did not listen to me. And it I might be wrong here, folks, but just think about this for a second. What happens if Twitter just folds and it's not there and it's not sold or bought by someone else to keep it going? That's just one big venue where people can't communicate. and share real time what's going on where they're at. See, you can text your friends and family a bunch of things that's going on. If shit starts going down where you're at in your country, in your neck of the woods, it's real easy for us to get on Twitter. There it is. This is what's going on. Share a video clip. And it's out there. People have it viral. What I see is the beginnings of them having the perfect excuse why you can't do it. It doesn't feel like Big Brother taking it from you. It just feels like some rich guy did something stupid and now Twitter doesn't exist because of that. I don't see that at all. I see $44 billion transferring hands in a money laundering scheme. And they're going to take one more way of taking information exchange from us, all of us collectively. It just goes away. Just like I think PayPal, they think, oh, PayPal is just trying to be this and that. You're going to charge somebody $2,500 and you're going to police whether something they say is truthful or not. I've already closed my PayPal account. I'm done. Gone. When they put that shit right back in there again, that was it. That morning I called. I said, you're not letting me close the PayPal account. I have no interest in doing business with PayPal anymore. I'm done. Close the account right now. Are you sure, sir? Because I said, I'm absolutely sure. Close my fucking account. What are they doing? They're removing another opportunity for currency exchange, doing business. Everything is slowly but surely like a noose around everyone's neck. The circle's being tightened smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and nobody sees it. Eventually, you're going to have, this is the only way you can buy and sell. You got to use this means of currency, the central bank digital currency, where everything's tracked. It's on the blockchain because the blockchain's not going away. Just your favorite coins and cryptos are going to go away. They're going to be banned. Only the central bank digital currencies are going to be allowed. I told you if they made a futures contract on Bitcoin, that's the beginning of the end. Not ICT. He's full of shit. Well, I can afford to be wrong. I haven't been. But can you afford to be wrong? Holders. Holding on for dear life. Hoping and praying that things are going to be wrong so you can come back and say, this didn't age well. I was preaching to my son. He wouldn't listen. And you all took it personal, like I'm talking to you. And he's in the situation I tried to prevent. And as a dad, as ICT, it feels like failure. I feel like I don't know how else I could have done it, I don't know how else I could have shown him what he was doing was the worst decision he could have done. Like, I don't know. I don't know what, looking back, I could have done anything different to make it even more impactful for him to not do it. He has me in him. And I remember how it was, and you've heard it in all my rants and such, and sprinkled through my YouTube channel videos where my friends and family said, this is the stupidest thing in the world. And I can see how I would have been like him saying, look, Dad, I love you and all, but he needs to come out of that crypto mindset and go to a real market. No, but crypto is a real market. Not in my eyes, it isn't. Something that is predictable, that is not going to have the tomfoolery that it has in it, Okay. The exchange is going to just take your money and screw you over. The CME is the CME. The Chicago Board of Trade is the same thing. These exchanges aren't going to pull the shenanigans that these crypto shitbags are doing. And, you can take offense to that, whatever, but that's the reality of it all. If you look at all these old guys that's been around for a long time, I've always been interested in their opinion about crypto and such. And the ones that got wrapped up in it, I've seen over time how they were like, I just should have stuck to the things that I knew. Does that sound like someone that made a good decision? No. There's a lot of celebrities that got themselves in trouble, by repping, these crypto things, and people really got hurt. That's unfortunate. And that's why I wasn't touching none of that shit. Okay. If you have to have a celebrity tell you this is something good, Matt Damon, Kim Kardashian, okay. If those people are saying this is what you should do for your financial future, it's smart. It's investing in your future. These people are not going to do that for free. Okay. They're being paid to do that, to say those words, because they're being paid to influence you. But if a celebrity or someone that's an influencer and they're repping a company or a coin or crypto or any kind of horseshit like that, man, that's the easiest one to want to run away from. What was that one? Like I said, I'm not a crypto person, but I remember there was an infomercial that was coming up on YouTube all the time, where Matt Damon's walking by and he's looking out like it's like in outer space or some shit like that. Like, what the hell? Like that right there, that screams failure. Like that right there is going to fail. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's one that just recently did fail. I just don't know what the name of it is. But you're going to see a lot of shit like that in 2023. A lot of your cryptocurrency things, they're all going to be shit just completely done away with. And what is that going to do to the public's perception about crypto? Hell no. I'm not touching that stuff. And then what's going to happen? Here's the solution. Here's the solution, because the dollar sucks now because it's not backed by the oil market anymore. Can't go to crypto. So what are you going to do? You can't just go and start using the ruble or yuan. That can't be accepted in America. So the central bank digital currency. Here you go. The savior. And get everybody on the blockchain. And once that's done, it's all going to be unified onto one. There's no way that's where we're going. You just don't see it yet. That's a little ways down the road. But they first got to get you off of cash. And that's going to be easy next year. Real quick, real sudden. You're not stopping it. I can't stop it. I don't even lose sleep over it. I'm not worried about it. But all these things translate into huge opportunities in the commodity markets next year. Because if grains can't be produced at the level they're supposed to be, and they don't meet their yield, how much they're able to harvest, that means there's going to be less food going into the grocery store. That means what? The supply, the real supply, will be small. Very, very low. What's that going to do for prices? Hyperinflation through the roof. Supply and demand. So if that's happening or likely to happen, wouldn't it be interesting for you to start studying what those grain markets are doing over the next 6 to 9 months? Because I believe that we're going to see enormous bull markets in the grain markets. in 2023. Like straight up, never been seen before type of moves. And they've laid the groundwork for it because they know everybody's looking for crypto bull markets. Everybody wants the stock market to turn around. Oh, look at this. We had a nice little bounce on stocks. Mm-hmm. It doesn't go in a straight line, folks. You have to get people wanting to do what? You have to get them to buy it. Downtrends, whether they're parabolic or stair-stepping, okay? Every time there's a short-term little low there is an enormous hope that comes in thinking that's the low. That's the bottom. Let's buy it. But just in case it isn't, let me put my stop loss right below that low. That's why you have these little corrections. It's not because buyers came in and there was a lull in the sellers. That's the horseshit that they tell you. It's not that, folks. It's not that. Once it gets to an objective, then they start repricing it higher. Any market orders that come in, they get filled at that market price, and it just keep booking higher, 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 higher. And if you're short, you get squeezed out of it, which causes it to do what? You buy it more. So you're exiting at a higher price that they keep offering to the marketplace. You're forced to trade there if you're in the trade, or you're suffering through the loss. So my point in saying this is they create these short-term little rallies to engineer sentiment shifts where it's the low. Well, maybe it's bullish for the stock market. See, normally we create the low of the year and it starts trading higher right about now. And I'm expecting this one to fail because that's the normal seasonal thing. I teach my students this between as early as September into the half of November. In those weeks, we look for an SMT divergence. Dow Jones goes lower, NASDAQ goes lower, S&P doesn't make that lower low, or one of them. And that's enough to start looking for a run up into February. Real easy move. Real easy thing that repeats most years. This ain't a typical kind of year. Like there's a whole lot of things going on, man. We got war, we got corruption everywhere. And I ain't going to go to the laundry list of things that I've talked about in the past, but nothing's normal, and normal ain't coming back. And normalcy in markets for sentiment is usually there's a low that's formed in the fall, and you can work with that going into February of the following year. Sometimes, as long as February, but usually through the first half of January. So you have a tradable fall rally. And then how we work into springtime where it creates a short-term high and then intermediate-term high and trades down through the summer, making, again, the fall lows. I am of the opinion that is not going to happen this year. They're going to give you what we're seeing right now, that little short-term turn. It looks like it's made a bottom. It looks like that we're done. We've seen capitulation. We have not seen capitulation. No. Mm-mm. Think about it, folks. This has been going up for a while. So they have to get people to do what? Buy in to bring in new sellers below the lows. Because if you're short from the highs, you have to have someone to do what? Sell to you, buying to cover your short. That's why these markets create these short-term lows in bear markets. It's